I saw a guy do this in a toothpaste ad once.
You know, on this channel, I like to speak about some of the most popular films that are released every year, but at the same time, I also enjoy shedding light to some things that aren't as notable and are maybe more on the niche side, but I've never flat out spoke about something that's been completely unreleased and essentially banned from being put out there to the public. Of course, I shed light to another group of fun little characters that are kind of past their heyday, which was the Muppets, but another group that's in a very similar situation is the Looney Tunes. The Looney Tunes have a weird history. Obviously, they were incredibly popular and successful in the 50s, 60s and all that. And then eventually there was the overrunning success of characters like Daffy Duck, Bugs Bunny, Elmer Fudd, and of course, who could forget the Wile E. Coyote and his mission to try and track down and eat the Roadrunner. In recent years for Looney Tunes, it hasn't been great being a fan. Obviously, if you think back to the 90s, Space Jam came out, which, although there is a lot of nostalgia value to it, I don't think is all that great. And then there was Back in Action, which I think is a fantastically fun movie for adults and children alike. It deserves the attention that Space Jam got, but it didn't get it, obviously. And now in recent years, what do we have? Well, they're not really on TV anymore. We had that Space Jam movie a few years ago, which was utterly pointless and boring and awful. And not to mention the fact that there is actually a new Looney Tunes movie coming out this month called The Day the Earth Blew Up, which will be the first ever fully animated story they've done in a movie, opposed to doing stuff like live action. However, there's another movie out there you can't watch. It has no release date, it has no intended release date anytime soon, and to be quite honest, there's a possibility that you'll never ever get to see this in your life. This is the movie that Warner Brothers don't want you to see. This is Coyote vs. Acme.
And I've never been so humiliated in all my life!
Now, the film follows Wile E. Coyote after all of his past failures with trying to capture the Roadrunner with the products that he's purchased from Acme. He decides to meet up with a lawyer and they grow a friendship as they sue the company in order to win money back for all of these failed misadventures. If you're not familiar with the Wile E. Coyote stories in the Looney Tunes lore, then basically they come down to Wile E. Coyote wants to capture the Roadrunner so he can eat him. He buys something from Acme every single time, a new product, and it always tends to backfire with him getting hurt, or whatever's meant to happen to the Roadrunner backfires onto him. They're quite humorous, and obviously it's one of those things that once you've seen one of them, you've kind of seen them all. But for me personally, they have so much charm about them that who cares? They're just fun, and you can watch a bunch of them. Now, the film went into development in 2018, and obviously due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the filming and production was delayed heavily. Eventually, the filming did take place in 2022 from March to May. However, Warner Brothers are sneaky little fuckers. In November of 2023, when the film was meant to be getting released, they decided to shelve the film in order to obtain a $30 million tax write-off, which made it the third movie to be shelved by Warner Brothers after Batgirl and Scoob Holiday Haunt. Keep in mind, all three of these movies were completely finished. There's nothing more that needed to be done, there's no more editing or filming or visual effects. These films were done and ready to be put out there so that you could watch them. And of course, Warner Brothers just decided, yeah, let's just get our money back. Eventually, this led to a bunch of backlash from the public who basically begged Warner Brothers to release the film, and so they decided to shop the film out to other distributors. But unfortunately, this was all unsuccessful. It's curious to know how these meetings actually went down, but unfortunately, as someone that wasn't there, none of us will ever really know exactly what happened. As of April of last year, the film is still available to be bought by another company, but again, it's not entirely certain how true this actually is. From my humble opinion, I think to shelf this and for it to never ever be seen in our lifetimes is absolutely disgusting to filmmakers and artists alike. Not even just the directors or the stars, I'm talking about every single member of the crew involved. You put hours of your own time into something like this. Probably one of the most fun parts is seeing the reaction that the public gives to it. The public have a love for Looney Tunes as well. It's not like they're this niche thing. Mostly everyone in the world knows these characters. To just completely abandon the film so that you can get a little bit of money back is disgusting and idiotic. Due to all of this happening, there's been a bunch of hashtags and stuff online. Release the Coyote versus Acme, release it, save it. Similar to the things that happened between the Snyder Cut, but I think the big difference is that and don't take this the wrong way, but Snyder fans are a little bit more annoying, and they kind of eventually had to give in. It did take them 4 years to do it, but they still did it, so, you know. Will Forte, the star of the film, actually went out to say in a recent interview, "My thoughts were that it's fucking bullshit. It is such a delightful movie, it deserves so much better than it got. I can't tell you possibly why the decision was made to not release it, but it makes my blood boil. Thank you for asking me about it, because I like talking about the movie, because I don't want people to forget what Warner Brothers did to this. I appreciate them letting us make it, but don't let us make this thing that we fall in love with, and then not show it. I would understand if the thing sucked, but it's really good. Maybe somehow we get to see it at some point. I hope people do. I was really proud of it." Maybe that's the end of the saga, really. In my personal opinion, I don't know if we're ever going to see this. Warner Brothers are so stingy, and they continue to make maybe the worst business decisions that any movie studio has been making the past couple of years, beginning with the stupid HBO merge thing when they released all their big movies on there the same day during COVID. That didn't work for them, and quite frankly, nothing has worked since. If we don't get to see this work of art, that's going to be miserable, but I do have to say, if you are a fan of these types of things, Looney Tunes related, then that new movie comes out this month. Go and see it, support these movies so that we get more like this and shitty situations like this never happen again. And if you're a part of the crew for Coyote vs Acme, I really do feel bad for you in that situation. What they've done is completely fucked up, but at the end of the day, if one of you wanted to, like, leak the movie, then, you know, that would surely benefit everyone, no?